When childhood hurts linger, why some adults struggle to respect their parents. Have you ever come across someone who just doesn't seem to respect their parents and it left you confused, maybe even judgmental? Or maybe you're that person silently struggling with guilt because deep down, the bond you should feel isn't quite there. This topic can be uncomfortable, but it's also deeply human. The truth is, disrespect toward parents in adulthood often has nothing to do with entitlement or immaturity, and everything to do with unresolved childhood experiences. When children feel consistently misunderstood, hurt, ignored, or used, it creates emotional distance that can last decades. In today's discussion, we're diving into 9 common childhood experiences that often result in strained respect for parents in adulthood. If you find yourself relating, I hope this brings clarity, healing, and a reminder your feelings are valid. 1. Growing up with conditional love, I had to earn my place. When love is only given if a child performs, behaves, achieves, or pleases, the message is clear. You are not enough as you are. Children in these environments internalize the belief that their value is tied to something external, grades, good behavior, athletic performance, even how low maintenance they can be. This kind of love isn't love at all. It's emotional manipulation dressed as parenting. As adults, these individuals often grow bitter. They may still seek validation from others or feel disconnected from their authentic self. Respect becomes difficult because the parent-child relationship feels like a transaction, not a bond. Insight, authentic respect is born from being seen, valued, and loved without strings attached. If you were only praised when you were pleasing, chances are you're still grieving the unconditional love you never received. 2. Emotional neglect. No one noticed when I was hurting. Physical neglect is easy to identify, but emotional neglect is often invisible. These are the homes where nobody asked how you felt, comforted you when you cried, or celebrated your little victories. You were clothed and fed, but emotionally alone. This kind of emptiness creates a silent wound. Children don't stop needing connection just because it isn't given. They learn to hide their emotions, become overly self-reliant, or feel too much for others. And that leads to a sense of loneliness, even in the company of family. As adults, many carry quiet anger or sorrow. The parents may say, "But we gave you everything," not realizing that everything never included emotional safety. Insight. Emotional neglect teaches you to doubt your feelings. Rebuilding that trust with yourself can take years. And for some, that lack of parental presence is something they never truly forgive. 3. Betrayed trust. You said you'd be there, but you weren't. Children are wired to believe their caregivers are safe havens. But what happens when promises are broken, secrets are betrayed, or boundaries are repeatedly crossed? Trust shatters. This betrayal can take many forms. A parent repeatedly promising to attend events and never showing up. Confiding something personal only to have it mocked or shared. Living with a parent whose addiction or mental illness made them unreliable or unsafe. These children grow up wary. They struggle to depend on anyone. And the idea of respecting the person who created that instability feels, at best, disingenuous, and at worst, self-betraying. Insight. Trust is foundational. When it's repeatedly broken, children don't just lose faith in their parents, they lose faith in the world. 4. Being a parentified child, I was the adult in the house. Some children grow up playing roles they were never meant to fill. Maybe mom was too depressed to cook or get out of bed, so you became the caretaker. Maybe dad confided in you about adult issues, his heartbreaks, bills, or job stress. You were praised for being mature, but deep inside, you were just a child aching for protection. This phenomenon is known as parentification, and it robs children of their right to be children. These individuals often enter adulthood burnt out, hyper-responsible, and resentful. They may love their parents, but they feel cheated. And respect. That's hard to offer to someone who leaned on you instead of lifting you up. Insight. Emotional role reversal may feel like closeness, but it creates deep boundary confusion. Healing often requires grieving the childhood that was sacrificed. 5. Verbal abuse and criticism. Nothing I did was ever enough. Some parents believe criticism builds character, but constant nitpicking, comparisons, and emotional insults don't build resilience. They erode self-worth. When a parent's voice becomes your inner critic, it's difficult to feel admiration or warmth. These adults often battle low self-esteem, perfectionism, or a fear of failure. And even if they achieve success, it feels hollow. What lingers isn't just the memory of the words, but the ache of never being good enough in the eyes that mattered most. Insight. Respect can't grow in the soil of shame. The adult may smile on the outside, but inside lives a child still waiting for kind words that never came. 6, absence in body or spirit. You were never really there. Some parents weren't there, literally, due to work, divorce, incarceration, illness, or abandonment. Others were there physically, but emotionally absent, zoned out, distracted, disengaged, on their phones, in their heads, or numbed out from life. Children in these environments internalize a message: I don't matter. Later in life, the bond often feels weak or non-existent. There's no shared emotional history, no moments of connection to draw from, and trying to respect someone who was a ghost in your life can feel forced. Insight: presence matters more than perfection. For many, it's not what their parents did, it's what they didn't do that built the distance. 7, living in fear. Home was never safe. In some households, every day felt like walking on eggshells. You never knew when the yelling would start, when the belt would come out, or when moods would shift. Home wasn't a haven, it was a battlefield. Fear-based parenting might control a child's behavior, but it shatters their sense of safety. These children learn to hide, lie, freeze, or appease. And as adults, they often carry deep-seated anxiety, anger, or disconnection. They may fear becoming like their parents, or become hypervigilant not to let others close. Insight: where fear ruled, love often fled. It's hard to respect someone who made your childhood feel like a war zone. 8, being invalidated. My feelings were always wrong. Imagine sharing something painful and being told, you're overreacting. That didn't happen. You're too sensitive. That's emotional invalidation, and it teaches children to mistrust their own experiences. Over time, these kids start questioning everything: memories, emotions, even their own instincts. As adults, they may shut down emotionally, become hyper-independent, or feel enraged when others dismiss them. Respecting the source of that emotional gaslighting, that's a tall order. Insight: dismissing a child's feelings doesn't toughen them up, it tears them down. Rebuilding self-trust often begins by learning to honor what was once ignored. 9, feeling unloved or unwanted. I was just there. Some children never felt genuinely wanted. Maybe they were told they were an accident. Maybe their parent constantly expressed regret or resentment. Or maybe it was more subtle, being treated like a burden, an inconvenience, a problem child. These children often become adults who carry a quiet grief. They wonder, why didn't you love me? And even if the parent says they did, it often feels like too little, too late. Respect in this context feels impossible, because to offer respect means softening toward the very person who made you feel invisible. Insight: every child deserves to feel like a blessing, not a mistake. That early sense of unworthiness can follow them for a lifetime. Final thoughts: not all wounds are visible, but all are valid. Before we rush to judge someone for how they treat their parents, we must remember, not all relationships are built on love and security. Some were born in chaos, rooted in trauma, and watered by silence. If you relate to these experiences, please know this: you are not broken. You are not ungrateful. You are not alone. What you're feeling may be grief, anger, betrayal, or even numbness, and all of it is valid. Healing doesn't always mean reconciling. Sometimes it means setting boundaries, rewriting your story, and finding peace on your own terms. And if you're a parent, this is a chance to break cycles, to reflect, to grow, and to offer the kind of presence and love that creates respect, not demands it. If this resonated with you, consider liking, subscribing, and sharing this with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment below to share your thoughts or journey. You never know who you might help feel seen today.